Hello, everybody. We're here today with Charlotte Lungo Banff, and she's an animal healer and communicator from Denmark. And this will be the first interview on soul horses because I'm quite fascinated by this thing that a lot of people have with their horses, and the connection. And I want to explore that a little bit further. And so that's why I invited Charlotte. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello.
How are you today?
Fine, thank you. I've just been out with my horses this afternoon, so then I'm good. How are you?
I've just been out with my horse as well. So I invited you to talk about soul horses, and maybe not everybody has the same definition on what a soul horse could be or is. Do you want to define what it means to you?
Yes, I would. For me, a soul horse is a life companion, a spirit friend, a guide from spirit, a soul made in horse shape, supporting us in our growth and development as a helper here on earth.
And you've had many horses in your life. Have you had this experience with meeting a soul horse?
I have, yeah, and I've had several beautiful horses entering into my life, and each of them has taught me something and helped me develop in certain areas, and each of them has had some topics to bring along and help me with just at the right time on my path.
How did you know that this was a special connection, or this was a soul horse for you, a horse that would bring you a growth, a transformation in your own life?
When I've met my soul horses, I've just had this feeling of a connection with them, sort of just knowing in my heart that this was a friend for me in some ways. And I believe that we meet these horses again and again, so they are companions that travel along our lives from life to life, and there has been a recognition sort of energy, like, oh, there you are again, or whatever. It's just a feeling of trueness between us when I meet them.
I have to say that when I met my soul horse, I didn't recognize him straight away. He was for sale and I didn't want to buy him because he was very wild and untrained, and I thought, I'm not ready for this. And he still moved in because the woman who was trying to sell him couldn't sell him, and she rang me and she said, do you want him for free? And so I said, yes, I'll take him.
So he moved in anyway, and you couldn't get him out of your mind, even though you thought, I'm not going to have this horse. He moved in anyway. And that's what they do. They move in. One of my very special soul horses was a massive horse, and I'm not a big person, so I like small horses. And this horse was a 800 kilo horse, and I bought him for my husband. And this was not a horse for my husband, this was a horse for me. But if he needed an excuse, so to speak, to move in, so that can also happen. But still, even, this horse, even though he was not supposed to, well, in my opinion, to move in with me, I couldn't get him out of my head, so I bought him anyway. Made the excuse that I bought him for my husband. That happens too.
So do you believe that the universe has already decided who gets which horse or which animal?
I do. I think this is something that we decide in spirit together with when we decide our life, when we plan this incarnation. The people and the animals and the helpers and guides that we travel along this earth plane path with is a group of entities that we know from before and from other realms, or whatever you want to call it, that we travel this path together. So yeah, I believe that strongly.
And what are the things that you have learned from your soul horses? Just a couple of.
Yeah, just a couple of those deep questions. My first soul horse was he moved in with me when I was 19, and I was a competition rider at the time, and not really having my heart maybe completely into an openness. There was some competition riding into it, and he just taught me to connect from the heart. And he taught me that you have to be present with what you do, and be authentic about this connection, because otherwise he would just check out physically and leave me there without the connection to him. And this heartfelt connection was something really precious that he taught me. And the big horse I mentioned before, my Raphael, funnily enough, with the same name as the Archangel of Healing. Well, there's a coincidence, but this horse taught me so much about energy and how healing energy can remove blockages in mind and body. He had a massive body with lots of issues, and by connecting from a healing energy and working with the energy field, he just taught me this so well. Then I had a beautiful white Anglo-Arab called Duracell, love of my heart, and he taught me to be authentic about who I am and what I want to express, and because he was expressing this so dynamically, and he was challenging me to find that spot in me, because otherwise he could not connect. But when we could do those things together, it was an amazing companionship with this horse. And he was so connected in spirit, but still connected to earth. He could share a recognition and a knowledge about the combination of these two planes. That was a massive learning experience for me that he gave me.
That sounds absolutely amazing. And sometimes I think that it sounds so good, nearly too good to be true, in a way, that horses can teach us these things. But I have experienced as well, just in the presence of my horse, that over sudden things become clearer and become clearer in my mind, and I understand things. So it's sometimes when I'm just riding him, or I'm just being with him, I understand things that are happening in my life.
They're so good at expressing these things that we need to learn and develop in ourselves. You can call it a mirroring, you can call it a presentation of what needs to be experienced in our life at the present moment. It just shows itself for us through these horses. It's very beautiful, I think.
If somebody is now watching and is maybe wondering, do I have a soul horse in my stable? How do I recognize the soul horse? What would you say to them?
Definitely, and go for the feeling of the connection in your heart. For me, I mean, it can of course be different from person to person, but I truly believe that, these horses really express themselves from the heart. And if you can connect from your heart to your horse, you will know.
If the horse is your soul horse. But
yes.
But do you think there's soul horses and normal horses?
Well, I think that maybe all horses are soul horses to someone. At least hope that, because there are many horses in this world without maybe a soul horse human relationship. Look at all the competition horses and race horses. I don't think they have that much of a connection. But again, it's who can define, and who is to define the correct soul horse companionship? I believe all of these horses as well have a purpose in teaching people and humans about companionship and compassion and sensitivity and expression of whatever they feel inside. That can happen in many levels. It doesn't have to be bitless bridle as it is for many people, with a sensitive connection to a horse. It can be in so many other ways seen in the big picture. I mean, who are we to judge which connection is the right one? But so for some other people, the connection of a soul horse can be something completely different than it is to you and me. But I think all of the horses that incarnate in this earth plane, they have a something they bring along to the shared connection between humans and horses.
And I think the thought that there's this one soul horse for you, or maybe there's more soul horses, in your lifetime teaching you different things, but I think it's very beautiful that the thought that the horse is meant for you, and he will find you, or she will find you.
They move in. I have this beautiful pony now that that has moved in with me just over a year and a half ago, and I was in the process of buying a new horse because my other 3 horses were not with me any longer. They were all deceased, but I was in the process of looking for this new horse, and I was being very in my head about what type of horse I wanted, and that got too much of a hassle. So I just decided to connect with my spirit guides and says, please show me which horse is the next right horse for me. And in a dream, I saw this beautiful grey pony with a long black mane and tail cantering towards me. And I woke up in the morning and I thought, oh, nice. Wonder when I will meet him. And a few weeks after, my friend presented me with this pony. And I was like, oh, there you are. So there was, again, this recognition and connection. And that was just a way for him and me to meet.
That sounds absolutely amazing. It sounds so beautiful.
Yeah, it was a good sales pitch from him. I showed you myself in a dream, and then we just need to fill out the papers, and that was it. He moved in.
This is so nice. I think this leaves me kind of was just asking you: is there any like little tips that you want to give people? Anything. How to recognize your soul horse? Or
I have this thing, when sometimes some of my riding students, they call me and, I've been out looking at this horse, and then we all find these physical errors with him and whatever they should buy it or not. And I always say to them, of course, if it's really something physically wrong, don't search for failures. But by the end of the day, if you cannot sleep without buying this horse, and you cannot sleep or physically feel comfortable in your life without having this horse near you, no matter if it only has 3 legs or 1 ear or whatever. I had a horse with only 1 eye, and if you feel that you cannot live without this horse, you have to move in together, you and the horse. That's just spirit ways. So go with it. Go from the heart.
That's a really good point. I will think about that for the next horse.
But they move in anyway, and if you try to be too much in your head about being too practical or whatever, they just figure out a way to move in.
Yeah, when I have a little bit more space, I will have some more horses.
You will. Yeah, they're waiting for you. They're out there waiting for you by land. Go for it.
But I would like to thank you very much for this very insightful and beautiful little interview or little talk that we had. And if anybody has some more questions about animal healing or communication or soul horses, then how could they reach you?
Well, you can first of all have a look at my website. Unfortunately for now, only in Danish, but have a Google Translate. My website is www.animalhealer.net. There are contact information there. You can send me an email. I'm on Facebook on animalhealer.net. So also that way you can reach me. And if you want to talk or write to me about your questions with either healing, communication, whatever, have a go. You're more than welcome.
That just leaves me to say thank you very much, Charlotte.
Thank you very much for having me. I enjoyed it.
This was really fun, and and I hope people enjoy it as much as I enjoyed it. And if there's any more questions, we will cover that maybe in the next little interview video tutorial.
Definitely. More stuff coming on. We have plans, so stay tuned.
We do. So bye everybody, and have a good afternoon.
You too. Bye.